Hi guys, this is Sai Kumar Kortiwada. In this video, we will talk about checkbox and radio button attributes. So this video is especially for checkboxes and radio buttons and what are the different types of attributes we can give for this particular elements. So let me quickly jump into Visual Studio Code. Here, let me create a checkbox with input type as checkbox. Let me give a type as checkbox and let me give some label for this. For giving a label, let me add an ID. So this is where ID is very useful. So let me add a ID called as testing and let me add a label for this label, and the label is having a for attribute where we can use that for attribute as same as an ID. Let me give testing and let me add something like testing label. Save this, go here and just reload. When you click this, you can see when I'm clicking on the label, it is selected. When I click on the label, it is unselected. So let me click this. It is selecting in both the ways. That means if you check the checkbox, it is selecting. If you check the label, it is selecting. That is one of the importance of this ID. This ID is used in many ways whenever we are using different types of elements and different types of scenarios, and when we come to JavaScript, this ID plays a crucial role. So for every element, try to give a unique ID. And why to give an unique ID? What is the purpose of giving an unique ID? We will talk in the JavaScript series. So now remember that we have to give the proper unique ID so that it can be linked with any of the label. Let me break this. And now let me add some set of radio buttons. Before going to the radio buttons, there is one more property for this checkbox. By default, it is unchecked. Let me reload. You can see by default, it is unchecked. Let me add a property called as checked. So whenever you are using a property called as checked, by default, this will have a Boolean value true whenever you are using that particular property, and hence that checkbox will be checked. Let me go here and reload. When you see this, it is already checked. Let me reload again. It is already checked. So let me add some set of input fields where we are trying to add a type as radio button. So when I create a radio button, actually speaking, we will be going with the label as well. Let me copy this label and put it over here. What I'll do is I'll use something called as gender, and let me make it as male gender, and let me use an ID called as male. And now let me copy this male, put it over here, save this. Now let me copy the same thing, paste and paste. This is female, copy, this is female, and this is female, this is others, and copy this, put it over here, others. So we have three radio buttons. Let me go here, reload. I'll show you a problem in radio buttons. Now when I click this, it's selected. When I click this, it is also selecting. When I click this, it is also selecting. Now there is a problem. What is the definition of a radio button? You have multiple options and you can select only one option, but here we are selecting multiple options. That is absolutely wrong. So how to solve this problem? We can solve this problem by using a property called as name property. So you can give a name for this particular input fields. That is where the name is also very important, and we have different situations and scenarios where we have to use a name property. This is one place where we have to use the name property. So I can give a name as gender, and if you give the same name for all the different types of radio buttons, then all the radio buttons will be grouped together. So I gave name gender, name gender, name gender. So I'm saying that these three radio buttons are the combination and they are equivalent group. So let me go here and reload. Now if you select female, only female is selected, male, male is selected, others, others is selected. For example, if I remove this name or change this name to 1, 2, 3, now these two will become one group and this will become another group. Let me go here, reload. When I click this, it's selected. When I click this, it's selected. When I click this, both selected. That means it became a separate group, whereas these two are single group. That's why the name property is very important whenever you are trying to write some set of input fields where the type is radio button. In the same way, like checkbox, we have something like checked. So whenever you are using a checked property on any of the input field, by default it will be in a checked state. Let me go here and reload. Now you can see it got checked by default. When I use this checked here, it will be checked by default. Let me go here and reload. Now female is checked by default. So whatever you want to show to the end user, by default which should be checked, then you can use this checked property. And again, it is also a boolean value which will take true value whenever you give the checked property. So name has its own priority whenever you are using a radio type of button, and name has many other features whenever you are using a form, and whenever you want to submit that form, then also the name property plays a very crucial role, and that we will discuss whenever we are talking about the form and button submissions. So that we will be discussing in the upcoming video. That's it for this video about HTML checkboxes and radio buttons. Hope you like my explanation. If you like my video, like, share, subscribe to my channel for more updates. Signing off. Thank you.